I actually encourage people to consider when they first meet somebody in that beginning stage before the first kiss, is this a suspect or is this a prospect?
So singles really want to know, how soon is too soon to have sex?
Well, I think that everyone likes rules or a formula to follow, and the truth is there isn't a magic number of dates that you should go on until you're ready to have sex. When we have sex, dopamine system is active in our brain. We're releasing oxytocin, we're feeling bonded and connected and falling in love. And the problem is we don't know if we actually have strong feelings for this person because we really like who they are or because of that love potion that's going on. And so when couples are dating with intent, which means looking for a serious committed relationship, they have to figure out, do they like this person, hopefully before they start confusing things with sex. So I always tell people to focus on building and developing emotional intimacy first, which means talking about your hopes and dreams and vulnerabilities, what you like or don't like, your core values. These types of things help you figure out before sex whether or not you're even interested in this person as a long-term partner. The other thing that I tell people is before sex, it's really important to feel secure in this relationship if you are looking for a committed relationship. So that might mean to one person having an exclusive, monogamous, committed girlfriend-boyfriend status, but for someone else that might mean that you feel confident that they're not going to ghost or completely ignore you the next day. And that way your self-esteem won't take as big of a hit. So that's what I think about sex soon.
I think those are some great points. I actually encourage people to consider when they first meet somebody in that beginning stage before the first kiss, is this a suspect or is this a prospect? Because if it's a suspect, you really don't want to put too much more time into it. So if they're a prospect, then getting to know them a little bit, the emotional, all of those sort of pieces are really important. But the other thing is sometimes people pick suspects and they've been drinking and partying and doing crazy things, and they have sex and then they feel obligated, and that's not really a good situation for people. And that's where sometimes people find themselves caught up more in promiscuity rather than trying to focus in on somebody who they are attracted to, who gets their attention, and that they look like they maybe have some of the characteristics that are important to them. And then you can spend a little more time and check out that kiss. But, you know, after the kiss, then you have to decide about what you're going to do about sex. And if the kiss doesn't work, well, you got to think twice about that.
You know, I do a national study with Match.com called Singles in America, and we don't poll the Match population, we poll the American population. So it's a representative sample based on the U.S. Census. And this past year, I asked, you know, what is appropriate for the first date? And 50% of people said nothing, no touching, no nothing. And 45% said, well, kissing would be the best or appropriate. So 95% of Americans do not think that you should be really having sex on the first date. And another question I asked about the first date is, have you ever had a first date that, you know, you started to, even on the first date, fantasize about a long-term partnership? And over 50% of both men and women did. So there's got a lot going on that first date. Not the sex part, but trying to figure out, is this prospect?
Yeah. No, I like that question, but, you know, first time when I heard that, I didn't know what to answer. Because, you know, our body really kind of tells us when we are ready to procreate. But I think your question is maybe more psychological. When are we ready, you know, mentally to do that? And I always kind of question the question of readiness as a kind of like a systemic therapist. Yes, I think there is a place for readiness, but I do think that there is a place for experience.
Exactly.
You need to go and experience. Think about it. Were we ever ready to get married?
Yeah.
Were we ever ready to have children? We never. Were we ever ready for life?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Psychologically, I think we're born prematurely and we need to grow, you know, to be that kind of mature. So I think part of that is really to experience. And because I know many people really afraid to experience because they're afraid to be rejected. Yeah. They're afraid that, you know, this is not going to be the right person. Okay, so what? Experience. Right. Yeah. And then if it doesn't work, change your position. Yeah. But the experience is the feedback that you receive if you're ready.
And you learn so much. I mean, between the sheets, you really learn whether the person's kind, whether they're patient, whether they can listen, whether they got a sense of humor, whether they're mentally flexible. I mean, you not just learn about the sex and whether they're a good kisser, but also, a huge amount about their personality.
So it sounds like there's no perfect number of dates to go on, no perfect formula for when to have sex. It sounds like it's really about the two people. Get to know each other. Don't just hop into bed. If you really want a long-term relationship, give it a little time. Practice makes perfect.